talk to autism interventionist and co-host of the Deeper Than Disorder podcast. Dr. Ashley Wiley-Johnson comes live in studio to dive into her current work in the autism space and unpack what we are yet learning about how to help people thrive with differences and clinical disorders. Dr. Ashley Wiley-Johnson on the backside of this hour. But we commence this hour in conversation with Robert Primus. Tell you more about him in just a second, but there is some breaking news here. Literally, this program, of course, is heard across the country in syndication. We're heard at in different time zones, different hours of the day. But as I sit here right now live for this program in Los Angeles, the Supreme Court seems poised to expand presidential power for Donald Trump once again. I'm reading now from the New York Times. The court seems ready to make it easier for President Trump to fire independent government officials despite laws insulating them from political pressure. Reading again from the New York Times, reporting Adam Liptak. The justices' questions were relentlessly split along partisan lines, with the Republican appointees seeming to side with the administration and the Democratic ones on the other side. Usually there are at least some surprises. Not today. Reading again from the New York Times, the Supreme Court appears poised to expand presidential power for Donald Trump and this administration once again. How does that tie into our guest right now? Glad you asked. Robert Primus is the recently fired member of the Senate-appointed Surface Transportation Board. The STB is the board that approves railroad mergers. I thought about Mr. Primus yesterday, knowing he'd be on this program today, because my mother was in town over the weekend. She popped in here right quick to see me. She's on a train trip all across the country, and so she got off the train for a couple of days, spent some time with her baby. So this weekend, I saw my precious mother, and I picked her up from the train on Friday and took her back to the train yesterday, and I was telling her I had a guest on today who had something to do with this railroad business. And so I thought about Mr. Primus yesterday when I dropped my mom off at the Union Station, Amtrak station here in Southern California. That said, Donald Trump is firing folk in every branch of government, but some, like Lisa Cook at the Fed and Robert Primus at STB, are fighting back. And I'm pleased to have Mr. Primus on this program right now to talk about his federal racial discrimination lawsuit against the Trump administration. Mr. Primus, good to have you on, sir. How are you today? Mr. Primus, is your mute button on? Unrelease that mute button. I can't hear you. So it's likely the mute button, so let's get that on. All right. So they're talking, Mr. Primus. We'll get him on the line here in just a second. Again, live radio. It happens. He's here. I can see him, but I cannot hear him. And so, again, he was on the STB board and, in fact, was the chairman, the chair of the STB board. And Donald Trump and team swoop in and fire him. And I'll let him tell you the backstory behind all that in just a second here. But as I said earlier, there are some of these persons who are being fired from positions that are fighting back. And again, Lisa Cook would be chief among them. That's the story that's gotten the most attention. Lisa Cook, and I don't know where her case is, but I know that the Supreme Court or Supreme Court, I think, has agreed to hear that case. I got to do some research to see exactly where that is. But Lisa Cook is still on the Fed board. Donald Trump fired her some months ago, but she ain't gone nowhere yet. She's still on the Fed and still fighting back against the Trump administration. But again, this ruling that I just mentioned a moment ago that will be forthcoming, the hearing oral arguments are underway or just about to end as I'm sitting on the radio about Donald Trump and what authority this administration actually has to fire independent government officials, despite laws insulating them from political pressure. Those laws would be, in some instances, that Congress has the final say-so on these matters. But Donald Trump is, not unlike any other time, moving like a bull in a china shop. And as such, he is just firing people willy-nilly. And Mr. Primus is one of those persons. So when we come forward here in just a second, we'll try to get him on the line to tell his own story. But I'm fascinated about him because, again, not unlike, I repeat, Lisa Cook, he has filed a lawsuit, a federal racial discrimination lawsuit against the Trump administration, and has said that he would continue his duties, not unlike, again, Lisa Cook. So we'll get his story from him directly when we come forward in this half hour. And then on the B side of this hour, we'll talk again to autism interventionist and author and podcast host. The podcast is pretty deep, and it's called Deeper Down a Disorder. But we'll talk to Ashley Wiley-Johnson, that is, on the back side of this hour. Okay, you're listening to Tavis, Smiley. We'll get this straightened out when we come forward.
Hope, agency, dignity. This Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Find what you love, love what you find. A total wine and more. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right, you save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Okay, Robert Primus, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Tavis, I can hear you. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No, it's all good. No, it's
yeah,
all good. It's all good. Technology, it happens sometimes. I want to make the most of it.
Strange things happen in DC these days.
Yeah, you say that again. I want to make the most of the time that we have left. I tried to set this thing up so the audience knows who you are and what we're talking about here. So let me just jump right in. Tell me about, I mentioned you didn't hear me, but I was talking about the fact that my mom was in town over the weekend. She takes a train trip across the country every couple of years, and she took her train trip over the last couple of weeks, and she popped off the train on Friday here in L.A., and I picked her up, and she spent the weekend with me, and I took her back to the train station and sent her off yesterday, headed back home to the Midwest. So I thought about you when I was in the train station yesterday, knowing you're going to be on the program today. So very quickly, tell me about STB, what it does, how you got on, how you became the chairman. Just give me a quick backstory, and then we'll jump from there.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for having me. So the STB is a Surface Transportation Board, and most people, including me for a time, had no idea what it was until you realize where it came from. It is the 2.0 of the Interstate Commerce Commission. Interstate Commerce Commission is the oldest independent regulatory body in the country, and it was created in 1887 to regulate our freight rail network, and it still does. Actually, it did busing. So again, during the civil rights time, it was dealing with the Freedom Riders. But today, it deals with it's the economic regulator for the freight rail network. It also works with Amtrak in terms of its on-time performance, because most of Amtrak long-distance travels along freight rail networks. So what we do is we handle mergers, acquisitions, construction, and disputes between railroads and shippers.
How did you get on this board, STB?
Well, I was approached by Senator Schumer back in 2019. There was a vacancy on the board, and honestly, I wasn't looking to get on the board. He came and asked me, was I interested? The first time I told him no, because again, I wasn't really interested in getting on the board, but a number of people called and reached out, told me that it would be a great opportunity for me to get on the board and to serve. So luckily enough, he came back. I said yes. I was then nominated by President Trump at the time in 2020, and I was confirmed by a Republican-led Senate about a week and a half after the 2020 election. And believe it or not, my ceremonial swearing in was by Jim Clyburn in the Capitol, January 6th of 2021.
Wow, that day.
So
Wow.
I literally just a few hours before everything broke loose, and unfortunately, I made it out of the Capitol, but I was stuck in Danny Davis's office for about 7 hours until they were able to allow us to go home.
Well, that sounds harrowing to have been sworn in on January the 6th when all hell's breaking loose on the Capitol. I didn't know that part of the backstory, but so I'm glad you shared that. So you end up being supported by Trump initially. We'll come again to how Trump administration ends up firing you or attempting to fire you recently. We'll come back in a second here. But while you're on this board, you ended up becoming the chairman, do you not?
Correct. So I was renominated by Biden in 2022, and he designated me as chairman last May, and I served until this January when Trump again took office, and then he removed me as chairman at that time.
Yep. So the obvious question for the audience is, what changed? So Trump supported you in 2020 and wants to yank you off in 2025. What changed?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2020, I was qualified to serve on the board. I had met the criteria of both Congress and obviously the White House to have my nomination go forward. And again, I think I hit the mark again with Biden to the point where I was designated chairman. So nothing to me has changed.
Yeah.
And I was just as surprised in August when I got a 2-sentence email from the White House telling me that I had been fired.
Let me ask you just a quick question here before I want to stay on point here, stay on message, but as they say. But let me just ask you whether or not you think Donald Trump had anything to do directly with your being fired, or was aware of this, or whether these are the people around him pulling you out to put their own people in. You think Trump was actually aware of this?
It's purely speculation now. I mean, I don't know the man.
Yeah.
But again, they said on behalf of Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
they were working on his behalf to fire me.
Yep. Now, I raised that question because we've been spending a good part of today's program. We talked about it with Leonard Pitts Jr. in our first hour, the great Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist. We talked about it with Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West, the brilliant scholar, in our second hour. Just wrapped a conversation with the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, talked about it with him. So this theme has sort of been running through today's program, this notion of the ways in which that Donald Trump is acting more and more racist. Outwardly, overtly, publicly. You probably saw the story we talked about earlier today, that now on the King holiday and on Juneteenth next year, you can't get into the national parks for free, but they've added his birthday on June 14th where you can get in the parks for free on his birthday. And again, it seems silly and petty, the words I've used all day today, but it just underscores and it adds to a long list of things that Donald Trump has said and done that speaks very clearly to the racism that is at the epicenter of Trump 2.0. So the reason why I asked you earlier what changed between 2020 and 2025 is that you were a black male then, and you are. I assume you are still a black male today. I don't think that has changed, Robert Primus. But I'm trying to figure out, given that he supported you in 2020, where the notion of this lawsuit based on federal discrimination comes in if you were black then and you're still black now.
Well, I think again, coming in this the 2.0,
Yeah,
I think for him has gone to an entirely different sphere.
agreed. Yeah,
Yeah, most of the people who are around him were not there in the first administration, are more extreme than the previous administration. I mean, you see that in the project 2025 that they had they're following the blueprint that they're following.
sure.
Uh, you know, I think that it was apparent in the previous administration, but I don't think they went to the extremes. If you look at the amount of blacks who were put in his administration, that there weren't a lot, but he didn't go through and outwardly fire people.
Yeah,
And I think again, it's going from, sort of I got in the first time and we're figuring it out, but now I know what I'm doing, and we're going to go ahead. This is my second term, and we're going to go ahead and make that statement.
yeah,
And I think that's the only thing I can attribute it to, and that's one of the reasons why I'm challenging it,
yeah,
because obviously my character and my background were such that allowed them to nominate me. And again, a Republican Senate with unanimous consent approved me.
yeah.
So no one voted against me. But now all of a sudden, I'm not good enough and not qualified enough to sit on the board anymore.
Yep. So I asked that question rather about whether you think Donald Trump knew expressly that you were being fired, because clearly he knew Lisa Cook. He went after Lisa Cook. And there are a number of other African Americans in high profile positions that have been relieved, I should say, relieved of their duties. And as I said before you came on, some of y'all are fighting back, Lisa Cook being one of them, Robert Primus fighting back. But I'm just trying to figure out whether or not you thought you were actually targeted by him, as Lisa Cook was. Now, having said
I
that,
think
yeah,
I think we were all targeted.
yeah,
So, sorry, I think we are, and many of us, many people who you don't know
right,
and who are not as prominent, are continue to be targeted.
yeah. Let me ask this question just because I'm curious. The audience heard, as did I, that when Chuck Schumer first reached out to you, you weren't interested. He came back a second time. You said, "Okay, I'll do it." And obviously, there's something about the work. And again, I'm always fascinated to learn things about agencies that I don't know anything about. But there obviously is something about the work. I can't imagine that you're filing this lawsuit over some ego trip. So there must be something about the work that you originally didn't want to do that you've fallen in love with that makes you want to continue it. If I'm onto something, unpack that for me.
Well, no, I think, I spent 25 years on Capitol Hill doing policy,
Right.
and switching gears from policy to becoming a regulator,
Right.
is quite a big turn. I'm blessed that I was able to that they thought I could do it, because I could do it, and I did do it.
Right.
But it was just a different point in my life of making that challenge. It's something where, again, God put it in front of me. I wasn't expecting it, so it kind of caught me by surprise. But once I talked through it with the congressman that I spent 20 years with, and with other people, they said, hey, they didn't question my abilities or whether or not I could do it or not. They just said, hey, this is a new opportunity. And once I got into it, like your mom, I enjoyed trains,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I really did. And if you look at from a Black American, trains have always been integrated within our society, and being a part of that, to me, once I got there and recognizing that, I mean, my great grandfather worked on the railroad, my grandfather worked on the railroad, so I understood that actually it was a full circle moment.
Yeah.
That I went from folks who were laying tracks, the Gandhi workers who used to sing and with the rails. Now I get to be the one regulating them.
Yeah.
So,
So tell me exactly what this lawsuit alleges.
so the complaint that we filed last week, discrimination, basically says that I was targeted, I was chosen to be fired because I was Black, and because I was the only Black on there. And if you look at how it's laid out, there was a vacancy on the board, so they didn't have to fire me. They could have nominated, which they did, another Republican to give them a majority.
Right.
And there's no food. There's also another Democrat on the board, Karen Hedlund, white woman, whose term expires at the end of this month. So they could have let her term expire and then let her eventually go away. But they looked beyond the vacancy. They looked beyond Karen, and they said, okay, here's this guy who just got confirmed for a second term in 2022. Term doesn't end till for another couple years. I think we can, he's the only black. He was the first black chairman of the agency. In line with everything else that's happened, whether it's CQ Brown, Carla Hayden, Alvin Brown at NTSB, we're going to continue to follow suit. We don't need them in executive positions. And so they got rid of me.
Yeah. Lisa Cook vowed to fight it as you have vowed to fight it. She is still on the job. Somebody just asked, are you still on the job? Are you still performing duties, or have you been officially ousted?
I've been, well, I want to do my duties. I mean, I
Right.
give Chairman Powell tremendous credit. Chairman Powell did not remove Lisa Cook because he said that there was legal matters pending.
Right.
My chairman turned my phone off and my computer before I even knew that I had been fired. Also barred me from entering in to attending a public hearing, not a private, not a closed door, a public hearing. I was tried to keep me from going to a public hearing back in October. So my chairman has not been supportive of me, more supportive of the administration and of the Trump administration in terms of removing me.
Yeah.
I wish I had someone like Chairman Powell, but I don't.
Yep. And so how do you read this news, this breaking news that I shared moments ago, that the Supreme Court appears poised to expand presidential powers? In case you've just tuned in, didn't hear it, the court seems ready, based on the questions that were asked today, straight down party lines, 63 majority, conservative majority, as you all know. But the court seems ready to make it easier for Trump to fire independent government officials, despite laws insulating them from political pressure. So here's the Supreme Court at work once again to give Donald Trump more presidential power to do exactly as he's done with you and with others. And you process that how?
Well, I'm extremely disappointed. First of all, I mean, again, the STB, ICC, the oldest regulatory body in the country, 138 years, 23 presidents, 12 Republican, 11 Democrat, thought that it was okay, that the law was okay to have, that the president had to give cause for removal. And now you have a court here that says, that's not true. That, we're going to give the president unitary executive authority. He's the president. He can do what he wants. And I think that's ultimately a threat to the democracy. It's walking over the Constitution. And for my agency, it's going to be a tremendous fallout for the shippers and even for the railroads, for the American public, because we rely on independent regulators who are not privy to lean partisan, they're not privy to lean one party to the other, but they are there to make a decision based on facts. Well, that may no longer be the case.
Yeah.
That is a tremendous threat to our country, to democracy, and to the way that we've been accustomed to for over 100 years.
Yeah. There are these moments where I find myself that is in conversation with certain guests about certain topics, or just in my everyday life, and I am reminded that race or racism is sometimes both personal and political. It's both personal and political, and you seem to be caught in that quagmire. You can't do anything about your skin color. That's the way God made you. But how do you not take this stuff personally, or do you?
I mean, it's hard not to, but
Yeah.
you also have to understand the historic context of it. I mean, this same type of event happened to black folks in the federal government over 100 years ago under Woodrow Wilson.
That's right.
1911, when he came into office, it wasn't, the way Trump did it, but he systematically removed black folks from managerial and supervisory roles. And segregated the federal workforce, and essentially that's what Trump is doing again by removing us from executive and leadership positions and saying, again, those aren't black jobs.
Yeah.
And
No.
so these jobs and so we're relegated to not having leadership. And what it does, it took generations plus for Wilson's tactics.
Yeah.
For us to turn the corner here, and who knows what's going to happen now. So it's personal, but it's also I'm worried about the country as well.
Yeah. Like a heat-seeking missile, this administration is in search of every black face in a high place, and they're doing everything they can to rid these persons of these powerful positions, including Robert Primus, who was the chair of STB, the Surface Transportation Board. I wish you all the best in the lawsuit. I thank you for your courage, conviction, and commitment to stand up and fight this sort of nonsense. But I also appreciate you giving the time on this program for us to understand more about your particular situation. Thank you, sir. And again, happy holidays and all the best to you.
Thank you, Tavis. Thank you for the platform. And good luck to you.
My honor to have had you on. Thank you for using the platform. One remaining conversation on today's show when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Republican senators are pushing the Back the Blue Act, which would make violent acts on police eligible for the death penalty. Senator John Cornyn of Texas.
This hopefully provides some deterrent and demonstrates our respect for law enforcement.
The bill also expands officers' self-defense rights and has strong backing from police unions. San Diego, California will pay $30 million to the family of black 16-year-old Kanoa Wilson, shot and killed by a police officer at a train station. The family says Wilson wasn't a threat. It's among the largest police killing settlements in U.S. history. And Joanne Allen Boyce, grandmother of late Disney star Cameron Boyce and a member of the historic Clinton 12, has died at 84 from pancreatic cancer. She helped integrate a Tennessee high school in 1956 and leaves a lasting civil rights legacy. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams have the best record in the NFC after pounding the Arizona Cardinals Sunday 45-17. The win puts the Rams at 10-3, a game ahead of the Chicago Bears, who lost to Green Bay Sunday. 3 more touchdown passes for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. The Rams had 530 yards in total offense. The 8-4 Chargers are at home tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles at SoFi. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is going to start tonight, 1 week after having surgery to repair a fractured bone in his left hand. Tavis Smiley's Indiana Hoosiers are the #1 seed in the college football playoffs. Undefeated Indiana beat Ohio State Saturday for the Big Ten Conference Championship. Indiana will have a first-round bye. They will play the winner of the December 19th Oklahoma-Alabama game on New Year's Day at the Rose Bowl. Each school in the 12-team playoff bracket will receive $4 million. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
It's KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
The only thing between you and your best self is the start button. This Cyber Monday, explore the world with Nordic Track. From the peaks of Peru to the streets of Paris, every workout moves you somewhere new with iFit trainers leading the way. The equipment's amazing, smooth, quiet, and those screens make it all feel real. Ready to start your next workout adventure with the #1 treadmill brand in the U.S.? Shop NordicTrack.com for Cyber Monday savings. Nordic Track. Train anywhere, explore everywhere.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
He does indeed. We close today's show with this conversation I've been looking forward to, and she is here as promised, Dr. Ashley Wiley-Johnson, author, vice president of the LA Speech and Therapy Center. But I invited her in for a conversation about her work in the autism space and what we are yet learning about how to support people to thrive with differences and clinical disorders. She is the co-host of a podcast called Deeper Than a Disorder. Love the name, Deeper Than a Disorder. And I'm delighted to welcome Ashley Wiley-Johnson in studio. Ashley, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
How are your holidays so far?
It's good, busy, momming, all those things.
There you go. Yeah. So as this audience knows, and I was saying to you when you walked in, I'm always fascinated by the backstory, particularly people who are doing what I would consider righteous work, like the work that you are doing.
Thank you.
Tell me the backstory, how you got in this space.
So the backstory is I was born from my mother. My mom founded our organization in 1979. And my mom was a single mom. And I spent all of my time in the office, just because that's what worked for her. And slowly but surely, I went to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and got my degree in theater. And I went back one summer to work in her program, her summer camp. And I was like, I think I could actually consider this. And as I got towards the end, ended up going and deciding to pursue the master's in communicative disorders. But I've always still had like a strong, ability and interest in media and things like that. And so as I've gotten a little bit older, it's transformed from working in the clinic, which I've worked with my mom now 20 years. And I'm trying to just spread our mission a little bit wider. And that's kind of what took me here. And I started to do one time I randomly, did it commentating as we were going into this last political season. And I was like, wow, this is a great space, and you don't usually see special education mixed with that. But I've noticed that I've really enjoyed kind of becoming an advocate and voice and spreading the mission of the work that my mom has started and has been doing for so long and kind of moving it forward.
All these years later, and if I'd asked this question, and I have asked this question over the course of my 30-plus year career in the broadcast field, I've asked this question many times, and the answer always shifts. So here I am again in conversation about autism, and you get to answer this question this time, which is in 2025, what are the greatest misconceptions today about autism?
The greatest misconception is that it doesn't impact you. With it being 1 in 31 now, everyone can think of 31 people that they know. Everybody has interacted with someone that's neurodiverse. And I think also knowing that there are options, that's the other biggest misconception, because people think, okay, I have a child with autism. What am I supposed to do? I'll just go to the school, figure out what I'm doing. But now it's like everything from all sorts of types of therapy and treatment. And it's like we're taking it away from just the therapy room and thinking about the world that individuals with autism live in. And so the biggest misconception is that you could just deal with this in therapy. It actually is everyday life that we need to be attacking and looking at.
What do we know about why that number is now 1 in 31? Again, you've done this as long as I have. You see the numbers, the data starts to shift over time. And sometimes it is that we're just learning stuff that was always there that we just were unaware of. And other times, the numbers really are shifting. They're shrinking or they're growing. I think of the conversations I've had about breast cancer over the course of my career and how, the data points on that continue to shift. And sometimes they shift in positive ways. Sometimes they shift in negative ways. But this 1 in 31 number, can you unpack that for me?
Yeah, I think you bring up such a good point that the numbers start to shift. And I remember when it was like 1 in 151, like a long time ago. So I think it's like it works on both sides. Yes, I think that there's a growth in prevalence, and we need to be thinking about why is this number growing? That's important. But at the same time, there's also a growth in our knowledge, the resources, the research. What does autism look like? The fact when they changed the DSM from the DSM-5, from the 4 to the 5, and they took out speech as a qualifier. Like before, you'd have to have some sort of speech delay to be able to be diagnosed with autism. Now, speech is not a part of the qualifications for diagnosis. So what that means is that the child who just has social skills differences and presents with like some repetitive or restrictive behaviors, but still speaks, can still be autistic. And so you're seeing a huge increase in more of the verbal population. And I think it goes both hands. It's like we're knowing more about it, but at the same time, this number is growing, and we kind of need to figure out why it keeps growing.
And to your point, what do we know about that? I'm not trying to make you an expert in that particular scientific arena. But to your point, when you started this, the number was 1 in 150, and now it's 1 in 31. That's not going in the right direction.
Right.
And let me rephrase that. It may be going in the right direction in the sense that it's making us more aware, more cognizant of it. So anything that that gets our attention, I think is a good thing. So I don't mean to suggest that that there isn't some good in that we're becoming more knowledgeable about it. But again, broadly speaking, that's not the way you want these numbers to go. So what do we know? To use your phrase, do we know anything about the growth and prevalence of autism? That 1 in 31 number?
Yeah, I think that. In the beginning, for example, there were several things that they counted out, like vaccines. People are talking about that. I think there's some environmental factors that have to be unpacked a little bit more. However, I wonder if there's because primarily it's a social area, social and restrictive and repetitive behaviors. I think that there's been changes, like the pandemic, for example, the kids engaging more in technology and devices. I think there's so many different reasons. I've heard parents talk about vaccines. I don't think I can discount that. I read studies of where there was, data in Atlanta that was destroyed related to Black boys and autism. And so I think we're starting to unpack it more. I do believe that there could be some potential environmental risk factors that need to be taken into consideration that could be mitigated. But what they are saying is that there is no link to vaccines and autism, and that there is no conclusive evidence that shows that there's environmental factors at this time. So I think what this is just saying is that we need to unpack it more and get a little bit closer to what this is.
To your point about vaccines, these days you say vaccine, and my mind goes to RFK Jr., the HHS secretary. I can't help that. And there is this, this debate that is still, as hot as fire about whether or not Tylenol causes autism. So before I get to that specific issue, let me just ask you how you are processing, and I'm putting you in this broad category of healthcare professional, how you are processing RFK-Jr. as the head of HHS.
Okay, I am processing it as I am someone that needs to continue to advocate for real research.
Sure.
And I feel like I'm rising to the call to spread my voice so that people know that you can't blame people, you can't other people. We need to figure out what this really is, go deeper as we can. And so I'm happy to let people know to rely on the research. At the end of the day, I still believe in research. I still think it's important. Everything that we do as speech pathologists is related to evidence-based practice. And so I'm helping people unpack that, whether it's one mother at a time or it's as many people as I can.
Well, that's the scary part for laypersons like myself. I'm not an expert in your field, obviously. But for laypersons like myself, when you say follow the research, there's the rub, right? Because there's some doctor that says this, another doctor that says that. We see every day. And again, this is not my space, but I'm in this chair every day for 3 hours, and I try to stay on top of what's happening in the world. You see every day the Trump administration making moves to fire certain people and hire other people.
Yes.
And the folks that they're hiring are people that are not advancing their agenda. And folks that they're firing, rather, are people not advancing their agenda. And the folks that they're hiring are advancing their agenda. So you look up and you see they put somebody in charge the other day that has a point of view about vaccines that's more closely aligned with RFK-Jr's than what the research has been telling us. Right. So when you say follow the research, that's scary for everyday people nowadays, because there's always somebody who will stand up and suggest that what their opinion is based on the research, but it's taking us in a different direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because for example, the research that came out related to the autism and Tylenol, that study, people can look at that and yes, the study said, there's some, it's showing you that there's some link between autism.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure,
there's a correlation.
Sure.
But what they didn't say that usually a researcher would be able to unpack is we looked at several single subject studies. We didn't include children that were of color, Black children, Hispanic children. So there's all these things that you don't understand until you actually go into that one research article and then look at everything that they cited and then make a decision based on that. And so that's why it's really hard. But I do think that, like I said, there's still so many people that believe in research. And so right now, as a healthcare professional, we're called to help our clients unpack that so that they can make a good decision. I mean, I'm more and more hearing more families saying, well, should I consider this leucovorin? What should I do? One doctor might tell you to take it. One doctor might say, no, it's not time. But for myself, as a person that can just provide the research, I'll tell you exactly what it says, and then you can make the decision.
Her name is Ashley Wiley-Johnson. We'll talk more about autism and her podcast, Deeper Than a Disorder, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Ashley Wiley-Johnson, who is the co-host of a powerful podcast called Deeper Than a Disorder. We'll get to that directly here in just a second. But I wonder if I could just ask you point blank about, we have a broad progressive audience listening to us across the country. For that, I am grateful. But I do want to ask unapologetically and deliberately about autism and black people in particular. What's the link? I mean, I don't want to box you in, so you got all the canvas you need to paint. Just talk to me about autism and black folk in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we are black children in autism, later to be diagnosed, have a harder time in terms of being misdiagnosed. So a family will receive one diagnosis that actually would shift into possibly an autism diagnosis. And we are the least researched. There's not many studies available that talk about specifically black children and autism. Yeah. And as a black woman and a black mother, it concerns me because these children are not necessarily being thought of. And so that's, I think, of course, started with my mother as her interest in why she was like, I'll be right here in the middle of our community to provide that safe space and haven. But as now this next generation, I also think about like all of the children, especially in other places. And so what I would say is that, you know, as black people, we have been not as trusting of research and science, especially because all the way dating back to the Tuskegee Airmen and what was happening. I think it's important for us to remember that, but also take a second and try to participate in research that you might trust, because we really need to include our kids in the data.
You know, it's one of those things that I wrestle with perennially, because to your point, I'm glad you went there. I was about to go this way. They say great minds think alike. So if I'm thinking like you, I must be in a good place.
Thank you.
But I was thinking about that Tuskegee study because there are legitimate reasons why we just don't trust data, why we don't trust research, why we don't want to be a part of clinical trials and the like. I get that, and yet I'm travailed and troubled by the fact that because we're not in these studies and not in these clinical trials, we end up missing out on the kind of research and data points that scientists need to help find things that will help us in the long run. So I understand the reason why we're skittish about it. At the same time, it troubles me again that we don't show up the way we ought in a variety of clinical trials and studies to give us the research and data that we need to, again, help us. But it's a perennial issue, and I ain't gonna solve it today with you. But what I do want to talk about when we come forward in our remaining moments with Ashley Wiley-Johnson is this podcast, Deeper Than a Disorder. You're listening to Ashley, and I'm glad about it on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Kohl's Customer Appreciation Event is here, right in time for the gift exchange. Even though everyone pretends gifting isn't a competition, it kinda is. At Kohl's, save on gifts everyone will fight over. From sweaters and flannels to air fryers, toaster ovens, and more. Because deep down, the gift exchange isn't just about giving. It's also about winning. Shop Kohl's and save on top gifts now. Select styles, some exclusions apply. Offers end December 14th. See store or kohls.com for details.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Ashley Wiley-Johnson, and honored to have her in to talk about this podcast that I want to make you aware of. My way is to discover things that I think are meaningful and valuable, to elevate and amplify the voices of people who are doing the kind of work that I think matters, particularly in moments, in grim moments like these. And so when I discovered this podcast, Deeper Than a Disorder, we thought we'd get Ashley in to talk about it and tap you into it. So tell me about the podcast, Deeper Than a Disorder.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is exactly what the name, the phrase, Deeper Than a Disorder. My co-host and I talk to people living with rare and common disorders and really try to unpack what their day-to-day life is like, understanding the humanistic components that what we found going into it, we didn't know what we would find. But from having these conversations, we found that there really is a link that connects everyone. And even stories that seem like, oh, no way that I can relate to, not being able to marry someone because I have a disability. But then when you hear these stories, you're like, oh, actually, I can relate. And I have had this experience in some regard. And so our goal of the podcast is to try to build people's awareness of different disorders, but also to be able to just see someone in a different light. We have some really amazing guests from Jay and Pamela from TLC, Jay and Pamela, to my best friend that's a leading law partner in New Orleans and lost her hearing at 35 and living with a hearing disorder. And so we try to really just run the gamut, and we've gotten some great, feedback so far, and we're moving forward into planning for season 2 and excited about it.
I got just a minute to go here. What is the one bit of advice you would offer us? Let me just preface it by saying I believe all of us have disorders.
Mm-hmm.
We all have disorders of some type.
Yep.
And so we are not human and divine. We're all just human, and we're all flawed. So on some level, we all have disorders. I know I do. I think we all do. But what advice would you offer us for how the rest of us can celebrate the humanity of those who have and are living with these disorders?
To include. Yeah. In every realm. It's not just in the therapy center or in a school. It is while you're riding the bus. Mm-hmm. It's while you're in the community. It's when you're at the store. Yeah. So include, think about, and identify. Yeah. If we all put ourselves in each other's shoes, it's going to be much better. And
we talked earlier about empathy on this program today.
Oh, absolutely.
About empathy versus sympathy. Not the same thing, as you well know. Mm-hmm. And so my view is very simple. I've said many, many times, I don't believe that any of us comes into the fullness of our own individual humanity unless and until we can respect and revel and celebrate the humanity of everybody else. If you can't do that, you never find the fullness of your own humanity, so we'll leave it there. Yes. Her name is Ashley Wiley-Johnson. The podcast is called Deeper Than a Disorder. Check it out when you get a chance. Ashley, you're doing great work. Thank you for your work and your witness, and thanks for the conversation.
Thank you, Tavis.
Good to have you on. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to this program. And as always, keep the faith.
KBLA.